Wake up, Sooner Nation. It's time. We got to talk about some recruiting. We got to talk about some transfer portal stuff. Oklahoma got a commitment from the cornerback out of San Diego State, Dejon Malone. And it seems like Oklahoma could be looking at a couple more here in the coming weeks. Oklahoma's got a couple guys coming to visit this weekend. It's going to be a packed week. But before we dive into it and before we talk about these potential impactful transfers and recruits for Oklahoma, I need to hear from y'all. So make sure you're jumping down in the comments, you're joining the discussion. And if you have not already, make sure you're hitting that like and you are hitting that subscribe button. All right. So we got to start out with a little bit of recruiting updates. Small ones, not anything big, but something we at least got to talk about. 2025 four-star tight end Deshaun Brame has dropped his top 8. And if you have followed Oklahoma recruiting, you are familiar with this name at some level, but by no short list, he's got a bunch of elite schools on here: Michigan, Bama, Oregon, Tennessee, Florida, K-State, Texas A&M, which that one kind of scratches my head. I mean, maybe it's because of the Colin Klein leaving K-State to go to A&M. Maybe that's the reason. But I look at this and say, a kid out of Derby, Kansas, and although you expect you're still probably going to land Nate Roberts, do you take 2 tight ends in this class? And if so, is Deshaun Brame going to be one of them? Does Oklahoma go after Chase Lofton? Regardless, I think the tight end position or the tight end potential for Oklahoma is going to be extremely high because, like I said, you got Chase Lofton, and we saw him at the BV camp. He is able to use his height, which actually tailored with quick feet, to be able to burn the defenders and get up there and grab the ball. Deshaun Brame, just highly productive here in 2023, 42 receptions, 942 receiving yards for 13 receiving touchdowns. And then you all know what Nate Roberts is about. But you guys might have also saw another one come through from the elite 4-star 2025 wide receiver, Jakaden Ferguson, who is down to 4 schools. And his commitment's actually going to come up here on January 2nd. So you're looking at Oklahoma, Tennessee, Houston, and Oregon. And actually, I look at this one and I say Oregon's probably going to be the school of choice. I do believe Oklahoma now might take not only Mosey, but maybe one other wide receiver in this class, depending on how their wide receiver room starts to shake up, possibly towards spring and the summer, maybe even throughout the season. If you start to see some guys exit the program, they could look at maybe taking one more guy outside of Isaiah Mosey. But that's really the one you're waiting on, right? Isaiah Mosey. Jakaden Ferguson, I would be shocked if he commits to Oklahoma. I don't see it being there. Looks like it's going to be more of an Oregon and a Tennessee battle, and I believe Oregon's going to come out victorious here. Now, before we dive into the transfer portal, I want to talk about some recruits that have recently gotten offers, and specifically one that was on campus this weekend. And that's going to be the 2024 4-star defensive lineman, Jacob Henry, 6 foot, 285 pounds, out of Austin, Texas, only holds 10 offers. I believe when I looked, Oklahoma was his biggest. But one thing you notice here when you look at Jacob Henry, he's got good size. Now, he's a little bit shorter than most, but when you watch this film, you're going to see what everybody else sees. A strong, athletic kid, a guy that's going to get up there. He's going to bully the offensive lineman. He's going to push him around, and he's going to get his way. Oklahoma also offered the 4-star linebacker out of Dallas, Texas, and Skyline High School, Elijah Barnes, number 84th overall player, holds currently 31 offers, and you guys can see it right here. Alabama's right at the top. You look at Elijah Barnes and what Oklahoma's trying to do with the linebacker position. You believe it's going to probably be a 2 to maybe even 3 linebacker class for Oklahoma here. You've got Dejon Petaway, who Todd Bates was conveniently out there seeing the other day at Katy Pate's house. So you guys know we'll have to talk about that one here in just a minute. But then you've got Tyler Atkinson, the 5-star linebacker out of Grayson High School in Loganville, Georgia. You heard me right. That's going to be one that Oklahoma fans want to keep their eyes on because Oklahoma is trying to get in that recruitment early. So going to be exciting to see what happens there. Okay, let's talk about transfer portal. Let's talk about some guys that are going to be on campus this weekend. And I think the first place that we have to start right here is with Holden Staes. Holden Staes is a 6'4", 242-pound tight end transferring out of Notre Dame. This season had 15 receptions for 176 yards and 4 touchdowns. We know that Oklahoma is looking at potentially taking another tight end alongside Devon Mitchell, who they're bringing in through the recruiting class. And if you're Oklahoma, you just lost out on Jalen Conyers, who was I think your number one target. He ended up committing to Texas Tech. He was the Arizona State transfer. So Oklahoma loses out there, but you're also getting on campus Andrew Makuba. And you guys are very familiar with this name because I've seen you guys talk about him in the comments on Twitter. But this guy was a freshman All-American at Clemson, and you can see through his numbers here in his stats, he is nobody to scoff at, nobody to overlook. Andrew Makuba, although I don't think he comes in here and plays safety 100% of the time, I think he comes in and he's going to probably play a little bit of cheetah, and he'll probably play a little bit of safety. Now, does he start over Peyton Bowen? Does Peyton Bowen get more cheetah looks? Because Billy Bowman has decided that he's going to return, so that makes things a little bit more complicated. It will be interesting, though, to see, does Brent Venables decide to take Andrew Makuba? Because we have not seen Venables actually go out there and attack Clemson players since he departed the program. And reason being is he doesn't want guys to take people from his program when they leave to go get jobs. Hence, Jeff Lebby not going out here and taking Oklahoma commits. I know a lot of y'all thought he was trying to poach Michael Hawkins, but that's a story for a different day. Venables is trying to set the example and set the standard for his assistants when they go out. So if Andrew Makuba actually ends up committing to the Oklahoma Sooners, that one's going to be interesting because it will be the first time that we've seen Venables take a Clemson player that just didn't willy-nilly just show up to campus, a.k.a. Jaron Kanik, who was a recruit in that 2022 class. Now, another offer that went out that I think everybody needs to be paying attention to, or at least you need to familiarize yourself with, is Sam Franklin, the running back out of Tennessee Martin, currently a sophomore, out of Little Rock, Arkansas originally. All right, guys, got a little cough. In 2023, had 223 carries, 1,378 yards, 11 touchdowns. This would be a guy that I don't think he comes in and he's a starter for you right off the bat, but I think he's a guy that comes in and maybe is a little bit of a relief for Gavin Sawchuk or Javonte Barnes. Remember, you do get Xavier Robinson and Taylor Tatum coming in next year, which we expect to see both of those guys playing pretty right away. So Sam Franklin, I'm not sure what his role will be like in the running back room, but regardless, you have to get more guys in there because you need more depth, and you don't want just bodies. You want guys that are going to be able to compete, drive the competitiveness in that room, and I think Sam Franklin might be able to do that. Now, last but not least, we got to get to the defensive line conversation when it comes to the transfer portal, because this is what you all want to know. This is the questions that you guys have. And Chris McCullen, this is the one that I think everybody's got circled right now. Everybody's paying attention to. Chris is originally from Tulsa, ended up going to Florida, and right now it sounds like it's down between Oklahoma and Arkansas. The 6'3", 320-pound defensive lineman is going to be a junior, so he's going to have 2 years of availability. Pretty productive. 46 total tackles, 14 solos, 2 sacks, 1 fumble recovery. You would imagine he gets here with Todd Bates. He's going to get molded. He's going to get shaped a little bit more. And he's going to be potentially I'd say 3 to 5 round draft pick. I don't know. You might call me a little crazy. Lastly, I want to talk about Hicks because I've seen you guys not only just talking about it on Twitter, but jumping here in the comments and asking, what's the deal with David Hicks? Well, there are going to be some NIL obligations that keep a lot of players at Texas A&M until after the bowl game. And I believe after the bowl game, you're going to see Hicks hit the portal, and I believe he's going to be an Oklahoma Sooner. I don't know how many people are willing to stick their necks out like that, but just from information that I've gotten, information that I've heard, I believe Oklahoma is going to be the destination for David Hicks. And I believe he's going to hit the portal this cycle. I don't think you go after Walter Nolan. Walter Nolan ended up visiting Oregon this past weekend, and that's probably where you likely see Walter Nolan cementing his home. And then you also have LT Overton in the portal, but it sounds like Bama and South Carolina are going to be the two front runners there. It sucks because you want LT Overton's talent, but I don't think you want. I'm not going to say it the way I just thought about it, but I don't think you want some of the things that are coming with LT Overton. So if LT Overton ends up in this class, like I told you, I will be shocked if he ends up with Oklahoma. I just don't think it happens. I think Oklahoma goes a different direction. And if you get Chris McCullen and David Hicks along with this this recruiting class that you're bringing in, your defensive line is going to be one of the best defensive lines in the SEC. So, guys, I want to hear from you, and I want to hear what y'all's thoughts are. So make sure you're joining the discussion, jumping down in the comments. And YouTube says that you guys need to watch one of these videos. So make sure you do that. And if you haven't already, hit that like and hit that subscribe.